بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. معالي الشيخ عبدالله بن ناصر بن خليفة الثاني رئيس الوزراء وزير الداخلية في قطر، أصحاب السعادة السيدات والسادة الحضور الكرام، أهلا بكم في الاحتفالات الرسمية بيوم السياحة العالمي 2017. اسمحوا لي في البداية أن أعرف بنفسي. أنا محمد سعدون الكواري، ويشرفني أن أقدم لكم مراسم هذه الاحتفالية. اسمحوا لي أيضاً أن أرحب بكم جميعاً في بلدنا الحبيب وبلدكم الثاني قطر، وإنه شرف عظيم أن نستضيف هذه الاحتفالية الرسمية ليوم السياحة العالمي في الدوحة هذا العام. يجتمع أعضاء المجتمع الدولي في 27 من سبتمبر من كل عام ليحتفلوا بيوم السياحة العالمي، ويسلطوا الضوء على مساهمة السياحة في مسيرة التنمية حول العالم، ويستكشفوا السبل الكفيلة بجعل السياحة عاملاً محفزاً لتحقيق التغيير الإيجابي المنشود. تماشياً مع إعلان الجمعية العامة للأمم المتحدة عام 2017 باعتبارها سنة دولية لتسخير السياحة المستدامة من أجل التنمية، فإن هذه الاحتفالية تقام أيضاً تحت شعار السياحة المستدامة أداة للتنمية. خلال أعمال هذا المنتدى سوف نتعرف على الآفاق الرحبة التي تفتحها أمامنا السياحة باعتبارها صانعة للفرص وداعمة للتنمية المستدامة. يشرفنا اليوم أن نكون في حضرة هذه الكوكبة المرموقة من المتحدثين الذين يأتون إلى هذا المحفل من شتى أنحاء العالم، حاملين معهم خبراتهم ورؤاهم الفريدة، يفتحوا لنا آفاقاً جديدة للنقاش المثمر والحوار البناء. أرجو منكم جميعاً أن تنضموا إلى هذا النقاش عبر استخدام الوسم الخاص بيوم السياحة العالمي WTD 2017. لم تكن فعاليات هذا اليوم ممكنة دون دعم ورعاية معالي الشيخ عبدالله بن ناصر بن خليفة الثاني رئيس الوزراء ووزير الداخلية في قطر، حيث حظيت هذه الفعالية برعاية واهتمام كبيرين من معاليه، وذلك نظراً للأهمية التي يمثلها قطاع السياحة لدولة قطر باعتباره مكوناً أساسياً ضمن الاستراتيجية الوطنية لتحقيق التنمية المستدامة وبناء اقتصاد متنوع. يشرفني أن أدعو معاليه الآن إلى المنصة كي يفتتح رسمياً أعمال برنامجنا اليوم، فليتفضل مشكورا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أصحاب المعالي والسعادة السيدات والسادة الحضور الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. يطيب لي في البداية أن أرحب بكم جميعا في بلدكم الثاني قطر، ويسعدنا مشاركتكم في هذا الاحتفال الرسمي بيوم السياحة العالمي بالتعاون مع منظمة السياحة العالمية التابعة للأمم المتحدة. إن احتضان دولة قطر لهذا الاحتفال والذي يعقد هذا العام تحت شعار السياحة المستدامة أداة للتنمية يمثل فرصة لمناقشة سبل الارتقاء بمساهمة السياحة في تحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة 2030 التي أقرتها منظمة الأمم المتحدة عام 2015. إن الاحتفال في هذا العام يكسب أهمية خاصة في قطر بعد الانتهاء من تنفيذ الاستراتيجية الوطنية الأولى 2011-2016 والانتهاء من إعداد الاستراتيجية الوطنية الثانية 2017-2022، ولكونه يأتي في وقت تتضاعف فيه الجهود لتعزيز وضع قطر على الخارطة العالمية، ولا سيما بعد أن برزت أهمية القطاع السياحي في دولة قطر كأحد الأدوات الأساسية لتحقيق التنمية المستدامة. ولذلك نجده يواصل معدلات نموه رغم التحديات الاقتصادية والأمنية التي تشهدها المنطقة. السيدات والسادة، خلال العقدين الماضيين شكلت صناعة السياحة أحد أهم محركات النمو الاقتصادي وتحقيق النمو المستدام في العديد من دول العالم. ومن هذا المنطلق فإن تنمية قطاع السياحة لم تعد اختياراً أو رفاهية، وإنما تأتي من بين أولويات التنمية كضرورة تمليها متطلبات التنمية الشاملة وتنويع موارد الاقتصاد الوطني وخلق الوظائف، فضلاً عن كونها أداة لبناء الجسور بيننا والحوار بين الثقافات ونشر قيم التسامح والانفتاح. ومن هذا المنطلق فإن صناعة السياحة تحظى باهتمام كبير ضمن رؤية قطر الوطنية واستراتيجيتها الوطنية، إدراكاً بأهمية وقدرة القطاع السياحي على القيام بدور حيوي في تحقيق الدعم للاقتصاد الوطني. ولمواكبة النهضة الشاملة لدولة قطر، اتخذت الدولة سلسلة من الإجراءات والتدابير غير المسبوقة فيما يخص بالانفتاح، والتي من شأنها أن تعزز أداء القطاع السياحي وتجعل قطر من بين الدول الأكثر انفتاحاً في المنطقة مع التزامنا بهويتنا وقيمنا ومبادئنا. ومن بين هذه الإجراءات: أولاً، منح تأشيرات الترانزيت المجانية لمدة 96 ساعة لجميع الجنسيات. طلب وإصدار تأشيرات إلكترونية لجميع الجنسيات. إعفاء مواطني 80 دولة من تأشيرة الدخول إلى قطر، وسوف تضاف إليهم دول أخرى في المستقبل. رابعاً، تطبيق نظام الإخطار الإلكتروني للحاصلين على تأشيرة أو إقامة من الوجهات السياحية التالية: الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية والمملكة المتحدة ودول الشنغن وكندا واستراليا ونيوزيلندا وبعض الدول الأخرى، والذي يدخل حيز التنفيذ من هذه اللحظة. ولا شك أن هذه الإجراءات سوف تمثل علامة فارقة على طريق تطوير صناعة السياحة في قطر، بل يمكن القول أنها تنقلنا مباشرة إلى المرحلة القادمة من الاستراتيجية الوطنية لقطاع السياحة. السيدات والسادة، أننا ندرك أن هذه السياحة لا يمكنها أن تنمو بكامل قدراتها وإمكاناتها إلا إذا تضافرت الجهود بين جميع الأطراف والقطاعات ذات الصلة. وعليه فقد وجهت في وقت سابق من هذا العام بالبدء بعملية مراجعة شاملة للاستراتيجية الوطنية لقطاع السياحة، بما يضمن تلبية احتياجات قطر ويحافظ على هويتها. وأشيد هنا بالعمل الجماعي للقطاعات عدة في الدولة، الذي أثمر عن وضع رؤية موحدة وخارطة الطريق نحو تحقيق خطة خمسية تم إقرارها من قبل المجلس الأعلى للشؤون الاقتصادية والاستثمار، والتي تقوم على الركائز التالية: أولاً، تسريع وتيرة الإنجاز في المشروعات السياحية التي سوف تشجع السياحة على زيارة قطر من جميع أنحاء العالم. ثانياً، تفعيل السياسات التي من شأنها أن تعزز النمو في هذا القطاع من خلال فتح أسواق جديدة كالصين والهند وروسيا، وتعزيز تواجدنا في أوروبا وأمريكا وآسيا، وتنويع المنتجات السياحية، وطرح فرص استثمارية للقطاع الخاص. وفي هذا السياق تم إعداد تنظيم قطاع السياحة من خلال تأسيس منظومة جديدة من الكيانات التي ستعني بالإشراف على تنفيذ الاستراتيجية الوطنية للسياحة ومراجعتها بشكل مستمر. وسيكون على رأس هرم هذه المنظومة المجلس الوطني للسياحة، الذي سوف يضم ممثلين من جميع الجهات المعنية والقطاع الخاص ليكونوا مشتركين معنا في صنع القرار. كما سيتم تأسيس أذرع تنفيذية تساهم في تحقيق رؤيتنا الوطنية في مجال السياحة. إن تحقيق أهداف هذه الاستراتيجية مسؤوليتنا جميعا كمواطنين ومقيمين على أرض هذه الدولة المعطاء، لأنها الطريقة الوحيدة لضمان عكس هويتنا المتفردة وتلبية احتياجاتنا الاقتصادية والاجتماعية. الحضور الكريم، لقد أصبح تعزيز تجربة الزوار في كل جوانب زيارتهم هي مسؤولية مشتركة تقع على عاتق كل الجهات ذات الصلة، ولذلك سيتم إطلاق مبادرة لتحسين تجربة السائح على المستوى الوطني، تشمل استحداث وحدة إدارية مختصة بالتجربة السياحية في جميع الجهات المعنية، وإعداد برنامج تدريبي لقيادات الوحدات لتزويدهم بالممارسات المثلى، لتتوج بنهاية كل عام بعقد منتدى سنوي وإطلاق جائزة وطنية تحت الرعاية الكريمة لسيدي حضرة صاحب السمو الشيخ تميم بن حمد الثاني أمير البلاد المفدى حفظه الله ورعاه، وذلك بهدف نشر الثقافة السياحية وتهيئة الأجواء لتحسين تجربة السائح على المستوى الوطني. إن النمو الراهن في دولة قطر يعزز التفاؤل بمستقبل صناعة السياحة، ولذلك فإن هناك فرص سانحة أمام المبتكرين والمستثمرين، ورواد الأعمال في الدولة والمستثمرين من الخارج، فعليهم اغتنامها عبر تعزيز التجارب السياحية التي يمكن أن نقدمها من هذه اللحظة. السيدات والسادة، وأن بكل تأكيد نعتز في دولة قطر بأن تكونوا معنا اليوم لتشهدوا على هذه الانطلاقة الجديدة، ولا شك أن هذه المشاركة تعكس التعاون الدولي البناء بيننا، بما يساعد على الاستفادة من الآراء والتجارب في الدول الأخرى في تحقيق الأهداف المنشودة لتعزيز صناعة السياحة. وفي الختام لا يفوتني أن أوجه الشكر والتقدير لسعادة الأمين العام الدكتور طالب الرفاعي على سنوات خدمته التي قضاها كأمين عام لمنظمة السياحة العالمية، واللي شهدنا من خلالها تعاون وشراكة مثمرة ما بين المنظمة وقطاع السياحة بدولة قطر. ولا يفوتني أيضا أن أشكر جميع القائمين على هذا الاحتفال، وأرحب بكم جميعا مرة أخرى في بلدكم الثاني قطر، متمنيا أن نحقق هذا الاحتفال الأهداف المنشودة. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
شكرا لمعالي رئيس الوزراء ووزير الداخلية على هذه الكلمة الملهمة. بالفعل لم تكن هناك مناسبة أفضل من الاحتفالية الرسمية ليوم السياحة العالمي لتدشين هذه المرحلة الجديدة التي تنبئ بمستقبل واعد للقطاع السياحي القطري، وهو ما سيعود على الجميع في قطر بالخير والفائدة بإذن الله تعالى. قبل أن أفسح المجال أمام السيد حسن الإبراهيم رئيس قطاع تنمية السياحة في الهيئة العامة للسياحة كي يستعرض لنا مكونات المرحلة القادمة من الاستراتيجية الوطنية لقطاع السياحة، أدعوكم لمتابعة الفيلم التالي الذي يوضح كيف تمت صياغة المرحلة القادمة بمشاركة مختلف القطاعات الرئيسية. بالنيابة عن الهيئة العامة للسياحة، اسمحوا لي أن أعبر عن خالص الامتنان لكل من شارك في صياغة المرحلة القادمة في مسيرة القطاع السياحي نحو رؤية 2030. فبفضلهم جاءت هذه المرحلة تعبيراً صادقاً عن احتياجات وتطلعات دولة قطر وشعبها. الآن يسعدني أن أرحب بالسيد حسن الإبراهيم كي يستعرض معنا متطلبات المرحلة القادمة وأهم سماتها، فليتفضل مشكورا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. معالي الشيخ عبدالله بن ناصر بن خليفة آل ثاني، سعادة الدكتور طالب الرفاعي، أصحاب المعالي والسعادة الحضور الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أود بداية أن أهنئ إخواني من وزراء السياحة بمناسبة يوم السياحة العالمي، كما يشرفني اليوم أن أكون معكم لأعرض لكم للمرة الأولى الاستراتيجية الوطنية لقطاع السياحة والمرحلة القادمة من خطة السياحة بين سنة 2017 إلى سنة 2023. ما تم إنجازه خلال الفترة الماضية كان إنجاز عظيم، فقد استطعنا ونجحنا في المرحلة الماضية من تغيير الصورة النمطية للسياحة في دولة قطر، فأصبحت دولة قطر أكثر من مجرد وجهة لفعاليات الأعمال والمؤتمرات، بل أصبحت من أهم الوجهات في المنطقة، وقد انعكس ذلك على الأداء الاقتصادي في دولة قطر. قد ذكر معالي رئيس مجلس الوزراء أحد أهم الإنجازات التي تمت خلال المرحلة الماضية، وهو إنجاز كبير نفخر به في دولة قطر، وأصبحت دولة قطر من أكثر الدول انفتاحاً، بل الأكثر انفتاحاً في المنطقة، وقد تحقق ذلك عبر سياسات تم إنجازها خلال السنة الماضية. لعل أبرز الإنجازات التي تمت والتي تم ذكرها سابقاً فتح تأشيرة الترانزيت خلال السنة الماضية، التقديم على تأشيرات السياحة عبر طريق الإنترنت وعدم الاعتماد على مكتب معين أو سفارة معينة للتقديم على التأشيرات السياحية، إعفاء 80 جنسية من تأشيرة الدخول، وهذا ما عكس انفتاح دولة قطر على العالم. ومؤخراً وقد تم اليوم الإعلان عن البدء بتفعيل نظام الإخطار الإلكتروني والسماح للحاصلين على تأشيرة أو إقامة في الوجهات السياحية الرئيسية من زيارة دولة قطر بدون الحاجة إلى تأشيرة مسبقة. لن تنجح السياحة إن لم يكن لها أثر اقتصادي وتنموي، ولذلك قد تم ذلك عبر طريق المساهمة ب5% من ناتج الدخل القومي الغير نفطي في دولة قطر، وهو ما يراوح حوالي 3.5 من المساهمة الكلية في الاقتصاد للعام المنصرم. كما شاهدنا بروز أحد المنتجات السياحية الجديدة أو القطاعات السياحية الجديدة، ألا وهي السياحة البحرية أو سياحة البواخر السياحية. فقد زادت نسبة سياح أو ركاب البواخر السياحية إلى دولة قطر بنسبة 1000% خلال العام المنصرم فقط، وقد تم ذلك عبر طريق البدء بالعمليات في ميناء الدوحة للمرة الأولى بطريقة كاملة، كما تم إطلاق مشروع تطوير ميناء الدوحة عبر لجنة المشاريع والإرث في دولة قطر. كما تم استحداث مجموعة من المهرجانات والفعاليات السياحية خلال الفترة المنصرمة وخلال الاستراتيجية السابقة. بدأنا بمجموعة من الفعاليات والمهرجانات، كانت أحدها مهرجان الأغذية، مهرجان صيف قطر الذي انتهى خلال الشهر الماضي، والذي عكس أيضاً مهرجان عيد الفطر ومهرجان عيد الأضحى ومهرجان التسوق في دولة قطر أيضاً. لم تكن هذه المهرجانات مجرد مهرجانات أو فعاليات دون أثر اقتصادي ودون تأثير على مستوى الوجهة السياحية، بل كانت الهدف الأساسي من هذه المهرجانات هو الأثر الاقتصادي. ولذلك قد ساهم مهرجان صيف قطر مع مهرجان الأعياد بما يقدر ب 630 مليون ريال قطري على الاقتصاد القطري، وساهم مهرجان قطر للتسوق بما يراوح 1.6 مليار لاقتصادنا الوطني. هذه المهرجانات تكتسب أيضاً أهمية لأنها تكسب الوجهة السياحية هوية مختلفة أيضاً. كان من أحد أهم الإنجازات التي تمت خلال المرحلة الماضية أيضاً تدشين هوية تجارية للوجهة السياحية أيضاً، وقد تم تدشينها قبل عامين تقريباً. جهود التسويق والترويج لم تقتصر على إطلاق هوية فقط، ولكن أيضاً تم تدشين ما يراوح 9 مكاتب تجارية للترويج للوجهة السياحية في 9 دول وقارات مختلفة. قد نما هذا الحضور أيضاً من خلال مجموعة من الحملات الترويجية التي تمت إما عن طريق الوجهة السياحية أو عن طريق الهيئة العامة للسياحة أو بالشراكة مع شركائنا العالميين عبر شركات السفر والسياحة حول دول العالم. لا يكتمل التسويق ولا يكتمل الترويج ولا تكتمل التنمية بدون قياس لمؤشرات الأداء وما تم تحقيقه حتى الآن. فما تم تحقيقه خلال العقد الماضي والذي يعكس اهتمام دولة قطر في صناعة السياحة واهتمام دولة قطر في كل المجالات الداعمة لمجال السياحة، كانت دولة قطر الدولة الوحيدة التي حققت معدلات نمو لعقد متواصل دون أي انخفاض، كما حققت الفنادق في دولة قطر وقطاع الضيافة في دولة قطر بناء على أحد مؤشرات الأداء أفضل تجربة لنزلاء الفنادق في المنطقة. والمؤشر الأخير أيضا الذي يعكس الأداء الإيجابي للوجهة السياحية، تم تصنيف الدوحة كواحدة من أفضل 100 مدينة بحسب يورو مونيتور. قمنا على الإجابة بسؤال ما الذي تم إنجازه، ولكن الاستراتيجية لن يتم الكشف عنها إلا إذا جبنا على سؤالين: ما الذي نطمح لتحقيقه خلال المرحلة القادمة، وكيف يمكننا تحقيق ذلك؟ ذكر معالي رئيس مجلس الوزراء أهم محورين للاستراتيجية، وهو تنفيذ المشاريع والإسراع في تنفيذ المشاريع التي ستؤدي إلى نمو الوجهة السياحية، ووضع السياسات الممكنة لقطاع السياحة، سواء عن طريق إعادة الهيكلة أو عن طريق بعض السياسات الأخرى التي ستدعم قطاع السياحة. إن لم تكن الاستراتيجية استراتيجية تساعدنا على التركيز على هوية قطر، لن تنجح الاستراتيجية. فكان من المهم جدا أن نكشف عن الهوية التي تم الاتفاق عليها عبر طريق التشاور مع شركائنا من القطاع العام والقطاع الخاص. وأجبنا على سؤال: ما هي هوية قطر كوجهة سياحية؟ هي أكثر من مجرد وجهة للاكتشاف. ستكون الوجهة السياحية خلال المرحلة القادمة عبارة عن مزيج بين الأصالة والحداثة. سنقوم بالتركيز على التجربة البرية والتجربة البحرية أيضاً، كما سنقوم بالتركيز على مجموعة من المنتجات السياحية التي تعني بالرفاهية وفعاليات الأعمال والرياضة والترفيه العائلي. لن تكتمل الوجهة السياحية إلا بالتركيز على التجربة السياحية. وعندما نتحدث عن التجربة السياحية فإننا نتحدث عن التجربة السياحية من قبل القدوم إلى دولة قطر إلى مرحلة مغادرة دولة قطر. هذه التجربة السياحية يجب أن تنعكس على المشاريع في المرحلة القادمة السياحية، كما تنعكس أيضاً على التجارب السياحية التي تقدمها الشركات السياحية. ولذلك تم تقسيم التجارب السياحية في دولة قطر بحسب المناطق الجغرافية وبحسب ما تم الاستثمار فيه خلال المرحلة المنصرمة. فإذا نظرنا إلى مدينة الدوحة سنلاحظ أن هناك عدد كبير من المتاحف ومن المشاريع الثقافية، ولذلك سيتم التركيز خلال المرحلة القادمة على السياحة الثقافية في مدينة الدوحة عبر طريق تعزيز هذه المشاريع القائمة بمشاريع أخرى أو ربط معين وتجارب سياحية يتم تقديمها عبر طريق الشركات السياحية. إذا انتقلنا إلى الخور والذخيرة فسيتم التركيز على الإيكو توريزم أو السياحة الصديقة للبيئة عبر طريق تقديم مجموعة من المشاريع أو الفرص الاستثمارية أيضا هناك، وسيتم التركيز أيضا على مجموعة من التجارب السياحية التي تعكس هذا التوجه وهذا التركيز. الزبارة وراس بروق تحتوي على خصوصية معينة، الموقع الوحيد المسجل في قائمة التراث في دولة قطر، ولذلك سيتم التركيز خلال المرحلة القادمة على المشاريع التراثية والتي تعكس تاريخ قطر أيضا، وسيتم التركيز أيضا على ليس فقط على المنتجات السياحية هناك ولكن أيضا على مجموعة من التجارب السياحية في منطقة الزبارة وراس بروق. دخان وزكريت أيضا سيتم التركيز على سياحة الاستجمام والرفاهية عبر طريق كما ذكرنا سابقا طرح مجموعة من المشاريع والفرص الاستثمارية وكذلك التجارب السياحية في في تلك المنطقة. أما جنوب الدولة إذا ما نظرنا للمسحبية والعريق وسلوى، فهناك مجموعة من المنتجعات القائمة حالياً والاستثمارات القائمة حالياً، وسيتم طرح مجموعة من الفرص الاستثمارية، ويمكنكم الاطلاع أيضاً على مجموعة من الأفكار الموجودة من خلال المعرض الخارجي. وكذلك سيتم تعزيز هذه المنتجعات وهذه التجارب عبر تعزيز شركات السياحة لتقديم بعض التجارب السياحية المتنوعة في تلك المنطقة. وأخيراً العديد وسيلين، منطقة التخييم ومنطقة المغامرات سيتم تعزيزها بمجموعة من المشاريع التي ستطرح للقطاع الخاص ومجموعة من التجارب السياحية أيضاً. كما سيتم تنويع رزنامة الفعاليات والمهرجانات السياحية لتعزز طموح دولة قطر في تنويع الأسواق المستهدفة، فسيتم تعزيز هذه المهرجانات إما عن طريق تطوير المهرجانات القائمة أو إضافة مجموعة من المهرجانات الأخرى في المرحلة القادمة. سنركز أيضاً على زيادة الوعي العالمي بالوجهة السياحية والتعريف بدولة قطر كوجهة سياحية في أسواق جديدة، وسيكون هناك وجود تجاري أيضاً في أسواق جديدة لدولة قطر. كما ذكرنا سابقاً، يجب التركيز على تجربة السائح المتكاملة منذ لحظة وصوله إلى مرحلة مغادرته دولة قطر أو الوجهة السياحية. سيتم تعزيز التجارب السياحية عبر مجموعة من الأدوات. قد ذكر معالي رئيس مجلس الوزراء موضوع إطلاق الجائزة، وستكون هي الجائزة هي المعززة لهذه التجارب السياحية لضمان المراقبة ولضمان تطوير مجال التجربة السياحية عبر جميع المؤسسات الضالعة في المجال السياحي. سيتم هذا التعزيز أيضاً عبر طريق البرامج وعبر طريق الفعاليات وعبر طريق ما تعرضه الشركات السياحية في دولة قطر. كما ذكر معالي رئيس مجلس الوزراء، سيتم تأسيس وحدات مختصة بتجربة السائح في جميع الجهات المعنية بالسياحة في القطاعين العام والخاص. وسيتم ضمان أيضاً أن البنية التحتية الرقمية والمادية متوفرة لتسهيل رحلة الزائر من وإلى وداخل قطر. كما سيتم طرح برامج تدريبية للضالعين في المجال السياحي لتطوير قدراتهم على التعامل مع السياح وتطوير قدراتهم على التعامل مع التجربة السياحية. وكما ذكرنا، ستكون هذه الجائزة التي ستكون سنوية إن شاء الله تحت رعاية حضرة صاحب السمو أمير البلاد المفدى حفظه الله ورعاه، هي الدافع الأساسي وهي وسيلة التركيز على المرحلة القادمة وعلى التجربة السياحية إن شاء الله في المرحلة القادمة. لعل من أبرز التحديات التي تم ذكرها في السابق في جميع المؤتمرات وجميع المنتديات السياحية هي مسألة التنسيق بين القطاعين العام والخاص من جهة، ومسألة أيضاً التنسيق بين القطاعات الحكومية والمؤسسات الحكومية. ولذلك كان في قلب الاستراتيجية الجديدة وقلب المراجعة إصلاح حوكمة السياحة في دولة قطر أو إعادة هيكلة حوكمة السياحة في دولة قطر. فكما ذكر معالي رئيس مجلس الوزراء، سيتم إطلاق هيكل جديد لحوكمة السياحة في دولة قطر، ينطلق من إطلاق مجلس وطني للسياحة. يكون المجلس الوطني للسياحة مجلس إدارة برئاسة معالي رئيس مجلس الوزراء وبالمشاركة بين القطاعين العام والخاص من الجهات المعنية في السياحة. كما سيتم إطلاق مجموعة من الأذرع التنفيذية خلال المرحلة القادمة إن شاء الله، والتي تعني بمجالات مختلفة، سواء كان مجال التسويق والترويج مما يسهل تواجد المجلس الوطني للسياحة والوجهة السياحية في أسواق متعددة، مجال فعاليات الأعمال مما يسهل إدارة الأصول المعنية في فعاليات الأعمال في دولة قطر، وأيضاً بعض الفعاليات القائمة عليها بعض المؤسسات الحكومية على رأسها الهيئة العامة للسياحة، وأيضاً ذراع تنفيذي لتطوير بعض المشاريع السياحية وطرح الفرص للقطاع الخاص في المجال السياحي. تطرقت الاستراتيجية أيضاً لبعض العناصر الداعمة لتعزيز الاستراتيجية وتعزيز تنفيذ هذه الاستراتيجية، منها مجموعة من السياسات الداعمة ومراجعة لبعض الأدوات التشريعية كقانون السياحة وقانون المعارض واللوائح التنفيذية المنبثقة من القانونين وبعض أنظمة التصنيف. سيتم أيضاً تسهيل ممارسة الأعمال داخل القطاع السياحي، وسيتم تقديم أيضاً المزيد من التسهيلات المتعلقة بسياسة التأشيرات، سواء عبر طريق تسهيل التقديم لها أو تسهيل أنواع التأشيرات أو أيضاً زيادة عدد الدول المعفاة من التأشيرة أيضاً. لن تنجح الاستراتيجية بدون وجود مؤشرات للأداء. ستوجد هناك العديد من مؤشرات الأداء، ولكن نعطيكم بعض المؤشرات التي تعكس هوية الاستراتيجية في المرحلة القادمة. سيكون الهدف إلى ما بعد كأس العالم إن شاء الله استقطاب حوالي 5.6 مليون زائر. سنستهدف نسبة إشغال أو معدل نسبة إشغال يصل إلى 72% خلال المرحلة القادمة. وسنركز أيضاً على المساهمة المباشرة في الناتج القومي، وسيتم رفعها إلى 3.8 إن شاء الله. لنلخص المرحلة القادمة وما سيتم تحقيقه وكيف سيتم تحقيقه، كما ذكرنا سينظر للسياحة ليس فقط كقطاع اقتصادي ومن ناحية تنويع الاقتصاد، ولكن أيضاً كأولوية وطنية تحدد هويتنا في المرحلة القادمة. سيتم ذلك عبر طريق تنمية شاملة لقطاع السياحة في دولة قطر، التركيز على التعاون بين القطاعات الحكومية والجهات الحكومية المختلفة وأيضاً مع القطاع الخاص، وطرح فرص للمقيمين والمستثمرين في دولة قطر وأيضاً المستثمرين من خارج دولة قطر. اسمحوا لي في النهاية أن أشكر معالي رئيس مجلس الوزراء على دعمه المتواصل لقطاع السياحة، وأشكر السيد طالب الرفاعي على ثقته لدولة قطر واحتضاننا لفعالية يوم السياحة العالمي، وعلى كل الدعم الذي قدمه خلال فترة خدمته كأمين عام لمنظمة السياحة العالمية. واسمحوا لي أيضاً أن أشكر فريق الهيئة العامة للسياحة الذي قام بالكثير لتقديم هذه الاستراتيجية بالتعاون مع القطاع العام والقطاع الخاص، فشكراً لكم.
بالغ الشكر للسيد حسن الإبراهيم على هذا العرض التقديمي المفصل. كم هو رائع أن نرى الخطط المرسومة للتغييرات المبهرة التي سوف تشهدها قطر خلال السنوات الخمس المقبلة. الآن أدعو السيدة هيلين مارانو نائب الرئيس الأول للمجلس العالمي للسفر والسياحة للحضور إلى المنصة وإلقاء كلمتها.
Well, good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Your Excellency, Sheikh Abdullah bin Nasser bin Khalifa Thani, Prime Minister and Minister of Interior, and Mr. Hassan, Al-Ibrahim of Qatar Tourism Authority, excellent presentation. I commend all the work that's gone into your strategy. Ministers and esteemed guests, and of course, my dear friend, Taleb Rifai, Secretary General. Thank you for inviting me today as a leader from the World Travel and Tourism Council to celebrate this World Tourism Day here with all of you in Qatar. We represent the private sector globally. I think it is of particular significance for the World Tourism Day this year as it is the International Year of Sustainable Tourism for Development. And for an industry that produces 10% of global GDP and 1 in 10 jobs globally, it is crucial that we protect the growth to be sustainable. These are the same figures that we have for travel and tourism for Qatar, larger than what was presented because we include indirect and induced. But we also see with an average annual growth of 5.3% in the GDP projected over the next decade for Qatar. The World Travel and Tourism Global Summit in Bangkok in April focused on sustainability as in its broadest sense. It's important that travel and tourism is sustainable across the board and not a niche. I congratulate Qatar for adopting the Green Tourism Certification Program, as I read in the paper this morning on the way over. I think we are gathered here really to celebrate the International Year, but also to ensure that this year is a celebration, creates a legacy. What will that legacy be? I think that there are three aspects to consider. First, we need better management to protect from the impacts of travel and tourism. And this happens at all levels. Governments need to recognize the sector and plan for growth, as our friends here in Qatar have done so effectively. But holistic planning is also vital at the destination level. As tourist numbers grow to the forecasted 1.8 billion, how can we plan to manage and distribute these new travelers effectively? Last year, the World Travel and Tourism Council, later this year, the World Travel and Tourism Council will be launching a new study that may be able to frame the considerations for destination management in protecting our sustainability. Second, we need to continue to work closely together as partners, not just as UNWTO and WTTC have been doing over the years, so closely and warmly. Thank you for your partnership. But also, as you've stated here in Qatar, in laying your ground and foundation for private and public sectors across destinations and countries. We are all in this together, our businesses, our people, our places. And that is why we have formed at WTTC, serve as a secretariat for the Global Travel Association Coalition called Uniting Travel, consisting of 7 international organizations, including the UNWTO, to speak with one voice, both government and private sector. And now we have formed the National Travel Association Coalition to help coordinate our common agendas among nations to support our efforts for better business environment to grow travel and tourism sustainably. And third, in the legacy, we need to tell the stories, share the inspiration, keep talking about it. Today, World Travel and Tourism Council is launching a new campaign called Transforming the World. We have commissioned a series of films which show how travel and tourism is transforming people's lives around the world. Just 3 such people include Huber from Mexico, who was a turtle poacher and is now a chef for tourists who come to watch the turtles. Evelyn from Kenya, who has found a livelihood as a safari guide and is one of only a handful of women doing so in the country. And then we have Krishna from Mumbai, whose company runs tourism in the infamous Dharavi slum. All of these examples are from our annual Tourism for Tomorrow Awards program, but you can see them and more on our website at www.wttc.org. But we ask you to share your stories with us and with the world. Apply for the awards as one step, so we can continue to promote the positive impact our sector is having. Yes, today is a celebration of what we all do every day to help the world become a more peaceful place with a better understanding of our diversified cultures and peoples. Or as the Prime Minister said, building bridges. It's so well stated because that indeed is the spirit of our industry. So I congratulate you all here in Qatar on your path forward, and I thank you for your attention.
شكرا للسيدة هيلين مارانو على هذه الكلمة الحكيمة. الآن أود أن أرحب بسعادة السيد طالب الرفاعي الأمين العام لمنظمة السياحة العالمية لإلقاء كلمته، فليتفضل مشكورا.
معالي الشيخ عبدالله بن ناصر بن خليفة الثاني رئيس الوزراء وزير الداخلية، اسمح لي أن أستأذن معاليكم بأن أتحدث بلغة عالمية أخرى لمصلحة ولمنفعة ضيوفنا إذا تكرم. Thank you very much for your presence here today. Your presence today is a clear message of how supportive you and the system and the leadership in Qatar are to the tourism sector. It's a clear and strong message. We understand it, we appreciate it, and we cherish it. Your supports have been essential to make tourism in Qatar what it is today. Over my 8 years as Secretary General, I've seen how Qatar has developed into a prime tourism destination. Excellency, I still remember 1996. I was coming from my small country, Jordan, here to Qatar to assist in what was known at the time as the Economic Conference for the Middle East. The only hotel that was there was this hotel. It was like a solid pyramid sitting here with very little in the background. You even had to seek the support of a few cruise ships to be docked so that you have enough rooms to accommodate a little bit less than 2,000 people. That was only 20 years ago. If you look at Qatar today, you'd be very impressed of how far you have come. UNWTO is very happy to have been part of this process. The last action you and Mr. Ibrahim have proudly displayed. Qatar waived the entry visas and requirements for its citizens from 80 countries. 80 countries. I am proud to announce that Qatar is the most open country in the region. We have developed something called the Index of Openness, which measures how many of the citizens of the world can enter into a country with ease, facilitation, and safety. Safety is important, but seamless travel is equally important. And we congratulate Qatar for being a leader in this field. We trust that travel facilitation is a core in the development of tourism and in unlocking the socio-economic benefits of each country. We're pleased to see Qatar's commitment to such a concept. To position Qatar tourism as a sector of diversifying the economy, enhancing stability, environmental, economic, and cultural stability, and national priority for the coming 5 years is very refreshing. The changes that Qatar will be undergoing in the lead up to the FIFA World Cup in 2022 and its new tourism strategy will surely open a new era for development in Qatar. I'm sure we were all very impressed with the clarity of the vision, the professionalism by which Mr. Ibrahim had displayed his plan were very, very impressive. Mr. Ibrahim, you're a good friend. Thank you for your years of collaboration. I enjoyed meeting you in China, and I enjoyed very much listening very carefully to the vision that I'm sure will make great transformations, not only in the tourism sector, but in many, many other aspects of life in Qatar. My dear friend Helen Marano, your partnership with us at UNWTO has been exemplary. We're walking the talk together. We do what we preach. Private-public partnership is very, very essential. Thank you very much, Helen, and all your colleagues. I want to pay a special tribute to a very special gentleman with us here, Mr. Bakr al-Bakr, Akbar al-Bakr, a longtime friend. I respect your professionalism, you're persistent, you have great respect, you and the company that you are leading. I'm looking forward to hear your presentation after this very short opening. Ministers, state secretaries, deputy ministers from Lebanon, Jamaica, Tunis, Liberia, Croatia, Morocco, Hungary, Pakistan, Equatorial New Guinea, and Romania. Welcome to Qatar. Welcome to Doha. الأصدقاء والإخوة الكرام السلام عليكم وأهلا وسهلا بكم في الدوحة أهلا بكم في قطر. Welcome to the 2017 World Tourism Day. My dear friends, we're not here by accident. لسنا هنا بالصدفة. This year's celebration comes at a very special time. I know that each and every country represented here has a very special link with Qatar. We know what we're doing. We know why we're here. 2017 is the United Nations International Year for Sustainable Tourism for Development, as declared by the UN General Assembly. And it comes at a crucial time for the tourism sector and at the world at large. It comes at a crossroads. Because, my dear friends, today the world is living major transformations. I would like to suggest that the world is undergoing two major transformative forces. I would even dare to call them two revolutions. One is the IT revolution, the digital revolution. This little gadget has transformed our lives in an unrecognizable way. We do business, we share thoughts, we stage movements, we do so many changes with a little gadget like this. Many of you still remember the days where we used to have the little telephones at home. I still remember our telephone at home did not even have numbers to dial. I had to pick up the head, and tap on it, and then there will be an operator on the other side, and I'll tell him, could you connect me please to Mr. Edmund Bartlett? His number is 235. He would say, well, it's 11 o'clock at night. Are you sure he'll be awake? I said, don't worry, he's a friend. He'll answer the phone. We've come a long way, and it's clear, obvious what it has changed in our lives. But the other revolution that is not clear to many of us is the travel revolution. And it's truly a revolution. Travel today has become an effective global force and a cornerstone and a major transformative along other global forces, such as hyper-globalization, delocalization, digital transformation. Many of the world challenges today are a result of these global forces: climate change, migration, natural disasters. Our friends in Mexico, represented by the good minister here today, had their good share of their sufferings. And we commend you, we commend your bravery, your ability to stand in the face of this very, very serious disaster. Health pandemics. Our friends in Africa, we have the Minister of Liberia here with us. 2 years ago, they bravely have to confront the Ebola crisis on the behalf of all humanity. Unemployment, security, digital disruptions, all of these are global challenges. We cannot address global challenges in a national level. Global challenges need to be addressed at a global level. We need to do it together. But despite these challenges and against all odds, it's strangely enough, international travel and tourism continues to grow in a very impressive way. 2016, for example, was the 7th consecutive year in a row of above-average economic growth that travel and tourism has witnessed. This year, 2017, continues that path with another 4.5% growth. In 2016, last year, there was 1,235 million international tourists that crossed borders in one single year. My dear friends, that's almost 1 out of 6 of the people of the world making an international trip every year outside of their country. And while doing so, tourism is bringing tremendous benefits to communities, to economies, and to societies. We are generating $3.2 billion in spending every day, 3.2 billion every day, creating 1 out of 10 jobs all over the world, representing 10.2% of world GDP and 30% of world trade and services. Travel tourism today is the 3rd largest industry in the world, after chemicals and fuels. UNWTO's long-term forecast shows that by the year 2030, this 1.2 billion international travelers will become 1.8 billion. But beyond the numbers and the economic benefits, travel and tourism today is a major contribution, as Your Excellency, the Prime Minister, just said, that's slowly and gradually bringing us together as human beings like never before in this fast globalizing world. Both the digital revolution and the travel revolution have made our world smaller, more connected, more interdependent. We know more about each other, therefore we care more about each other. It is indeed a better world. And don't let any morning views make you believe otherwise. With all due respect to our good friends from CNN, our good partners, we're living in a much better world today than we've ever lived before. Travel and tourism is breaking down stereotypes and barriers, enable us to see each other as people and experience, enjoy, and celebrate the beauty of our rich diversity of cultures in this world today. This is indeed the tourism's greatest contribution to a better world. Travel, my friends, open minds, open eyes, and open hearts. We become better people when we travel. I traveled the world. I am a better person. Travel has become today a way of life. It's not anymore an elitist activity, or a British or Swiss or German gentleman that travels to China or India, comes back and writes a book about the exotic places of the world. It's people moving, people getting to know each other. It is not anymore just a human need or an urge. It's today a human right, I can even argue. My right to enjoy the world, my right to relax, my right to do business, my right to seek healthcare, my right to seek education. I'm absolutely sure that 40, 50, 60 years from now, the future generations would look back at this time and age and say, that was the age of travel. But, my dear friends, with growth comes power, and with power comes responsibility. With 1.8 billion international travelers, we could end up with 1.8 billion opportunities or 1.8 billion disasters. It's all up to us. How we manage this impressive growth is absolutely crucial. We need to ensure that the 1.8 billion travelers can and should, when well managed, translate into opportunities for inclusive economic growth. We have to learn how to buy local. Opportunities for more and better jobs, decent jobs. We have to learn how to hire local. Opportunities to protect our natural and cultural heritage. Use tourism revenues for that protection. Opportunities to better know, respect each other, learn and engage together. Opportunities to bond people, bond hearts and bond minds. Opportunity to distribute the wealth fairly, because the world today needs much of this. My dear friends, the world today is suffering from so many deficits, economic deficits, technological deficits, many, many other deficits. But the one most crucial deficit of them all is the deficit of tolerance and understanding. And there is nothing more powerful than people meeting each other to make this world a better place. The question today is, how can we enable this transformative force called travel and tourism to contribute to a global sustainable development agenda that we all are connected to? This is the question that is asked of us, especially in this 2017 year, and especially today at the World Tourism Day. This year is dedicated to the contribution of tourism to building a better world, without doubt. And today is the time for us to review this. A year dedicated to advance all 17 Sustainable Development Goals, our roadmap for 2030. A year dedicated to consolidate our commitments to the targets set in the Paris Agreement, the climate change. In doing so, we have to step up tourism's contribution to sustainable agenda at all levels, because, my friends, for a sector like tourism to be relevant, to be respected, it has to be relevant to other sectors, to other people, and to the sustainable development agenda. But my friends, what is sustainability? Sustainability is simply to sustain life on Earth, not just to preserve it, not just to preserve its natural and cultural assets, who we live, who we are, and how we live, but to do so in a process that elevates life on Earth to a higher level of progress and advanced quality for people. It's important to see that development, preservation, is not in conflict with growth and progress. This is the real challenge. Growth and sustainability, progress and preservation have to go hand in hand. It's not neither or. It's a win-win situation. It is not a zero-sum game. We need to advance. We need to make life better on Earth. My dear friends, after these brief remarks, I'm really going to listen very carefully to some of the remarks from my friend Akbar Bakr, because advances in air transport are some of the key factors for the rise of international tourists. International tourism rose from 25 million in 1950 to 1,235 million in 2016. Developments such as low-cost carriers, jet engine, digitalization have popularized aviation and gave more opportunities for people to fly, therefore to travel. The growth of the air transport is therefore strongly connected to the growth of the tourism and vice versa. We take pride in Qatar Airways, Mr. Akbar. We truly take pride. I did fly from Madrid to here on Qatar Airways, and I was happy in every moment I was on that aircraft. There are destined connections between travel, tourism, and aviation. Both are forces for development that have major responsibilities in building a better and more sustainable world. Both are interlinked. Over 52 to 55% of the people of the world arrive to their destinations by air. Both have an environmental impact, particularly their contribution to climate change. We have estimated that 5% of the carbon emission of the world is generated by the travel and tourism industry. 2/3 of that is from transportation. That's a very important challenge we have to face together. My dear friends, Tim Cashel, a travel writer, wrote the following: "A journey is best measured by friends rather than by miles, because travel is to connect people. We aim to make tourism and air transport pillars of the new Agenda 2030, as defined by our joint statement, ICAO and UNWTO statement in 2015 in our Medellin General Assembly." My dear friends, in 2015, the international community reached 3 important milestones. 1, it approved the 17 SDGs Roadmap Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. In December of 2015, we signed the Paris Agreement on Climate Change. And in 2015, we declared this year as the International Year for Sustainable Tourism. The International Year will not end in December 2017. Long after 2017, the gains we, as the global international community, have made this year must prevail and help us shape the agenda for 2030, but only if we continue to work together. Our partnership with WTTC is an example of how we all need to work together. My dear friends, I have one final thought to share with you. We travel to places we respect. We don't travel to places that we don't respect. Respect the people, respect the society, respect the culture, respect nature, respect history. Because in doing so, we ourselves gain self-respect. We like ourselves when we are in places that we like. We find our reserves for self-respect, and we're able to respect everything, everywhere. That's why the motto of this International Year of Sustainable Tourism this year has been travel, enjoy, and respect. We must make the 1.8 billion people traveling the world global ambassadors for tolerance and respect. That's why people will continue to travel the world. That's why, Your Excellency, people will continue to come to Qatar, because we respect Qatar. This is why we need to be here and send a strong message to the rest of the world. As this will be probably my last World Tourism Day celebration in my capacity as Secretary General, ending my second term in December 2017, I'd like to share with you a thought and a mantra that I will carry with me in my heart and soul way after my challenging, rewarding, exciting, and humbling time as Secretary General is over. My dear friends, when we travel, we become better people, because there is nothing more powerful than people coming together, rubbing shoulders, creating in the process a new world, just like the one Qatar is trying to build here over the years. My dear friends, whatever you do in life, let's always remember that our core business is and must always be to make this world a better place. Nothing else matters. This is why we should travel, enjoy, respect. Thank you and happy World Tourism Day. Shukran jazilan, wafaqakum Allah wa hamakum. I would like to share with you this 1-minute video that we have prepared on World Tourism Day and International Year of Sustainable Tourism. It is entitled Travel, Enjoy, and Respect. Thank you very much.
شكرا لسعادة السيد طالب الرفاعي. منذ اختيار سعادتكم بالإجماع لشغل منصب الأمين العام لمنظمة السياحة العالمية عام 2009 أصبحتم في طليعة الجهود الرامية إلى تسليط الضوء على الدور الذي يمكن أن تؤديه السياحة في تحقيق الاستمرار وتعزيز التفاهم بين مجتمعاتنا. بفضل جهودك أصبحت السياحة موضع اهتمام القادة الدوليين، ولذلك نكون لك نحن والمجتمع الدولي بأكمله كل الاحترام والتقدير. على مدار السنوات الثمان الماضية كنت دائما تشاركنا رؤيتك وخبرتك وقدراتك القيادية، ولا ريب أنك قد استطعت خلال هذه السنوات أن تحدث تحولا وتترك بصمة في قطاع السياحة العالمي. لهذه الأسباب وغيرها ثق أننا جميعا في هذه القاعة سوف نفتقدكم كثيرا. تعبيرا عن تقديرنا لدوركم الجليل في هذا الصدد نتمنى أن تتقبل منا هذه الهدية. شكرا لكم جميعا. السيدات والسادة، أدعوكم للانضمام إلي في توجيه خالص الشكر لمعالي الشيخ عبدالله بن ناصر بن خليفة الثاني رئيس الوزراء ووزير الداخلية على رعايته ودعمه لهذه الاحتفالية وتشريفه لنا بحضوره الكريم في هذا الصباح. السيدات والسادة، نذكركم أن بقية فعاليات اليوم سوف تعقد باللغة الإنجليزية. نرجو منكم استخدام سماعات الترجمة واختيار اللغة المطلوبة من اللغات الست الرسمية للأمم المتحدة. And now I would like to ask you to turn on your attention to the screens around the hall for a video message from Her Excellency Marie-Louise Kalouriou-Prica, President of Malta and Special Ambassador of the International Year of Sustainable Tourism for Development.
It is my pleasure to give my contribution through this message during the official celebration of World Tourism Day 2017. While I regret that I cannot be with you in person, however, I would like to convey my very best wishes to you all, and in particular to the Secretary General of the United Nations World Tourism Organization, His Excellency Taleb Rifai and his team. I believe that today's celebration offers us an ideal platform to reaffirm our commitment towards sustainable tourism as a tool for development. Sustainable development has the ability to address inequalities by creating job opportunities, prosperity, peace, security, and well-being to make our world a better place for all. This celebration also offers an opportunity for our private sector in the field to continue to dialogue share and analyze diverse future aspirations for the industry within the context of this much-needed sustainable approach. World Tourism Day offers us another reflective opportunity of how our respective authorities and countries can effectively contribute towards the sustainability of the sector. Moreover, today's celebration offers us an opportunity to reassert our strong engagement with the United Nations Agenda 2030 and its 17 Sustainable Development Goals. I believe that we must continue to be guided in all our endeavors by the fundamental values of the United Nations and by our shared focus to achieve positive peace, holistic well-being, and long-term sustainability for the benefit of all humanity. Let us use this opportunity to promote beneficial changes in social policies and economic practices to evolve a more sustainable tourism sector which actively contributes towards the fulfillment of Agenda 2030 and its 17 Sustainable Development Goals. That is why I am pleased to note that the key themes of the International Year for Sustainable Tourism as a tool for development are rooted in important social, economic, and cultural strategies for progress inspired by these goals. Tourism is increasingly recognized as a critical driver to achieve these goals. Tourism is an essential contributor for strong socio-economic growth, job creation, and the safeguarding of our historical and environmental heritage. Tourism is a sector that has an unrivaled impact on the livelihoods of billions of people around the world. According to the 2017 Economic Impact Report released by the World Travel and Tourism Council, conducted in collaboration with Oxford Economics, tourism generated 1 in every 11 jobs of the world's employment opportunities last year. This translates to a total of 292 million jobs. Moreover, the sector grew by 3.3%, outpacing the global economy for the 6th year in a row. The report also notes that travel, tourism, and hospitality generated 10.2% of the global GDP, when the direct, indirect, and induced impacts of the sector are all taken into account. Additionally, according to the Economic Impact Report, money spent by foreign visitors accounted for 6.6% of total world exports. This equals almost 30% of total services exported, reflecting the global economic impact that tourism makes possible. It is evident that travel, tourism, and hospitality are crucial sectors as they generate the ability to empower our communities, to transform our economies, and to strengthen our societies. I would like to take this opportunity to commend all stakeholders who have taken this commitment on board to transform the lives of millions of people for the better. However, on the other hand, there is still much more that needs to be done to promote sustainable tourism as a tool for development. If we wish to ensure that the momentum we have achieved this year to secure a more sustainable future for our world is maintained, then we must carefully analyze and consider further the effect of the tourism industry on climate change. Climate change is not a distant phenomenon. Rather, it is a pressing reality with far-reaching effects on all of our countries and regions. We must therefore be mindful of the changing climate and shifting weather patterns, which shall undoubtedly have an effect on tourist choices, industry productivity, and travel patterns. There is an urgent need for the tourism industry, for our national governments, and for international organizations to work together, to develop and enhance strategies to address the imminent issues of a changing climate. We must increase our actions now. We must prioritize on all renewable sources of energy. We must encourage further environmentally respectful attitudes. We must take preventive actions and adaptive measures against the future of effects of climate change. Let me therefore take a moment to commend the growing efforts being made in my own region, the Euro-Mediterranean region, to ensure that environmental protection is high on national agendas of stakeholder countries. I would also like to commend in particular the Mediterranean Tourism Foundation, which is bringing together diverse stakeholders in the Mediterranean and also taking initiatives in this regard. I am a firm believer in strategies and collaborations as an effective means to address the effects of climate change by promoting a sustainable way forward for the tourism industry. I believe that our strategies for sustainable tourism can equally promote responsible tourism. I would like to encourage you all to place the social, economic, cultural, and environmental well-being of our communities and our countries at the heart of all your considerations, so as to ensure that the tourism industry will create not only economic profits, but also socio-cultural benefits to all. We must also embrace the enrichment that diversity makes possible to our nations. Diversity provides opportunities for tourists, visitors, and local communities to make meaningful connections and friendships with each other. In the process of building connections and friendships, we'll be building an inclusive and participatory culture of positive peace. Positive peace is not simply the absence of violence or conflict. Positive peace is the decision to keep creating opportunities and to implement effective strategies that promote universal human rights and fundamental freedoms for all peoples. Let me encourage you to continue to be guided by a truly 21st century vision of sustainable tourism as an intrinsic tool to build a global culture of positive peace and holistic well-being. Let us continue to endeavor to make the tourism industry a driver for solidarity, peace, and prosperity for the benefit of all humanity now and in the future.
Għadna kemm xandarna messaġġ mill-Eċċellenza tagħha Mari Luiz Kolero Preka, President ta' Malta, fl-okkażjoni tal-Jum Internazzjonali dedikat lill-Mara.
And now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, His Excellency Mr. Akbar Al-Bakir, Group CEO of Qatar Airways, to deliver his speech on aviation's role in building sustainable tourism.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm delighted to be here today at such an important event as we all join together to celebrate World Tourism Day in the spirit this year of sustainable tourism and development. As the Group Chief Executive of a global airline, the words sustainability and development are something I am all too familiar with, as my ambition as a leader of more than 45,000 employees is not only to grow and promote Qatar Airways as the world's best airline, but to lay firm foundations for years to come. In this, I not only wish to safeguard the future of a business, but to fulfill the promise I made 20 years ago when asked by the Father Emir to create not only an airline, but the world's best airline. Since that time, I have placed my energy into creating a global airline that proudly flies the flag of the state of Qatar to more than 160 destinations around the globe. From east to west and north to south, what greater responsibility and privilege can there be than to be a brand ambassador for my country's flag on such a global scale? Over the last 2 decades, Qatar Airways has become the carrier of choice for millions of people from around the world. supporting tourism and the cultural and social benefit it brings. A familiar go-to brand widely established on a digital platform around the world and among today's mobile millennial generation, a generation of which it is said that 55% of those on business trips would extend their time abroad for the sake of leisure travel, a source of untapped potential tourists. In tandem with the growth of Qatar Airways, Qatar itself has become firmly established as a global center of world movements of people, facilitating a global population that is becoming increasingly mobile. In fact, 80% of the world's population are within a 6-hour flight of the state of Qatar, a mobile population that, according to IATA, is set to see 7.2 billion passengers travel in 2035, a near doubling of the 3.8 billion who traveled in 2016. Carriers such as Qatar Airways are playing an increasingly important role for the number of leisure passengers who choose scheduled carriers for their holiday or tourism experience. And for many, Qatar Airways is the carrier of choice as we manage our costs and yields correctly, providing price-competitive seats to global travelers such across every category. However, let me be quite clear on our expansion. Qatar Airways has not solely targeted the popular and well-established networks across the globe. But in my role as an aviation leader, I have placed significant importance on reaching out to underserved markets, destinations that many have no national carrier or robust transport links. In connecting them to our network, Qatar Airways has played a pivotal role in enhancing economies and tourism around the world, while also establishing critical trade and cargo links across the globe. For example, just a few short weeks ago, Qatar Airways launched a new direct route to Kiev, and a few weeks before that, we commenced direct flights to Skopje. The reality is that the impact of such connections will see travelers emerging in these new tourism hotspots while enhancing employment in local leisure industries. In fact, shisha cafes quite often appear in cities where we launch direct routes. If I may note, here a comment recently made by the Prime Minister of Ukraine, Mr. Volodymyr Grozny, who said, "The strategic decision of Qatar Airways to launch direct flights literally means that Ukraine will be discovered by the world." When Qatar Airways commences services to a new country and destinations, we take our role very seriously. We connect to political leaders, economists, heads of tourism, with the aim of not just transporting individuals in and out of a destination, but to promote a country's offering to our global network. Qatar Airways Group also provides unique holiday packages through our subsidiary business, Qatar Airways Holidays, to these new destinations in emerging markets. However, this experience of more than 20 years of connecting people, forging relationships within industry, and enhancing tourism around the world does not stop short of our own home and country, the state of Qatar. Our experience means as we are now ideally placed to promote Qatar as a holiday destination in its own right. In this regard, you may ask, why is it only in recent times that Qatar has truly emerged as a stopover and holiday destination? Any destination has a roadmap of inbound leisure tourism, and for Qatar, that timeline recently accelerated. When Qatar was awarded the winning bid for the FIFA World Cup 2022, it placed our country firmly on the map within the worldwide media, a channel Qatar Airways itself also utilizes by bringing hundreds of international journalists each year to experience the delight of Doha. Yet in the years leading to the winning bid announcement, Qatar Airways did not stand still in making itself known. We took time, looked at our neighbors, and learned from any mistakes made with the goal of keeping intact our cultural and expansion in line with a long-term strategy, the Qatar Vision 2030. Quite simply, Qatar is different, so we looked at what we could do differently. Our landscape is different, our cities are different, and our culture is true to the Middle East. Qatar's culture represents our Islamic beliefs and brings them to a global audience in a manner of true hospitality for which we are known the world over. That is our difference. And now more than ever, we are proud to take our offering to a global marketplace, not near and far, welcoming people from around the world. While Qatar has long been a vibrant trading place within the GCC and a hub for oil and gas business travelers, more recently came this need to develop assets aligned to leisure visitors and, of course, a regulatory landscape to facilitate exactly that. The UNWTO World Tourism Barometer of Destinations highlighted tourists in the first 6 months of 2017, and Qatar is now strongly placed to contend. To this opportunity, Qatar Airways has championed a new and exciting initiatives with the Qatar Tourism Authority and the Ministry of Interior, contributing financial investment and manpower from across our global business network. In fact, Qatar Airways Group even went to create a bespoke destination management company, Discover Qatar, with a fully dedicated staff of over 240 employees. Discover Qatar focuses purely on establishing Qatar as a leisure and tourism destination, enhanced by recent changes to the entry requirements. In 2016, new visa regulations were announced that would go to see Qatar open up as a new destination to thousands of people who previously never considered Doha as a stopover. Qatar Airways partnered to launch the tourist visa, enabling those booking tickets with Qatar Airways to apply for a free tourist visa for up to 96 hours. This year, further enhancements were made to tourist visas, while Qatar Airways launched Qatar Plus in a partnership with Qatar Tourism Authority, providing free 4- and 5-star hotel accommodation for those who wish to avail a stopover package. Supported by a global marketing and public relations campaign, this firmly placed Doha as a stopover destination for the first time to a global audience and has already attracted over 10,000 additional visitors in Doha since May. Then, of course, this summer came the further development of visa-free arrival and entry into the state of Qatar for up to 80 nationalities, promoting Qatar as a holiday destination for the 35 million passengers already traveling through our airport each year. Of course, this has naturally been facilitated by our new home and hub, Hamad International Airport, one of the world's 5-star airports. Hamad International Airport was designed with the passenger experience in mind as a true destination experience in its own right. As the leisure and tourism attractions of State of Qatar were built and enhanced, so too did our arrival and departure experience, facilitating tourism and seamless entry in and to and out of the country. While we also offered free tours of Doha for those with time between connecting flights, in fact, this October, we will celebrate our 100,000 transit tour customer. With our airport experience as an airline and as an airline, and through leveraging our global travel intermediary contacts, Qatar Airways is now uniquely placed to feed customers from more than 160 destinations around the world into Doha. And I'm proud to say that Doha is well prepared to receive them. And as you can see, Qatar Airways has truly established itself as a global player with industry-leading accolades such as the Skytrax Airline of the Year 2017 for the 4th time. And we will continue to facilitate this growing demand for tourism into Doha as well as connectivity around the world. For those coming to Doha, We have world-class museums, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Zubarah Fort, world-class hotels and spas, a very rich souk experience, one of the world's largest population of whale sharks, sports stadiums of the highest caliber, and on our west coast, some of the best kite surfing in the world. And of course, the experiences you can only find in Qatar itself, from a dhow cruise across the bay to our world-famous sand dunes that flow directly into the sea, the only place in the world that it does so. Connecting people from around the world is not just a requirement from passengers, but a privilege for Qatar Airways. Our reach and relationships within travel and tourism, not just the aviation space, enables our customers to experience new and exciting destinations from Tbilisi in Georgia to Baku to Skopje, destinations that our passengers now travel to as they trust in our brand to provide them not only with the flight, but also through Qatar Airways Holidays, their whole holiday and destination offering. As a global travel company, whether it is outbound travel from Japan to South Africa or inbound from Yerevan to Doha, Qatar Airways is now one of the world's largest facilitators of global leisure and business traffic. Our approach as an airline to support our trade and intermediary partners, along with providing a global network, competitive pricing, and the visa access we offer to promote sustainable tourism, means we are uniquely positioned to move global populations around the world, and of course, to our home market destination of my beloved country, Qatar. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We will now move on the first of two sessions of today's agenda, the high-level think tank entitled Tourism as Means of Creating Opportunities, Enhancing Cultural Preservation and Mutual Understanding. For that, I would like you to join me in welcoming on the stage CNN International anchor, Max Foster, who will be moderating our sessions today.
Well, it's wonderful to be here in Qatar, my first visit, and I'm already looking forward to the next one. Also wonderful to continue our relationship with Dr. Rifai and the UNWTO, a long and fruitful relationship. We'll miss him a lot too. We've been hearing how tourism obviously helps create development, and it creates wealth, opportunity, jobs. It's a wonderful thing, but it also comes with its challenges. Questions we need to ask are, how do you preserve the community's cultural values and heritage? Are local people getting their fair share of the spoils? And how can we make the most of that potential for intercultural dialogue? We're here really to exchange ideas, because many of the countries represented here are doing their own thing in their own way, as they should, but perhaps other countries can share from that as well. So we've put together this wonderful panel who have lots of ideas for you. So I'd like to invite them all to come up to the stage one by one, if I could. His Excellency, the Minister of Tourism for Jamaica. First of all, His Excellency, the Minister of Information, Culture and Tourism of Liberia. Her Excellency, the Minister of Tourism and Handicrafts of Tunisia. His Excellency, the Minister of Tourism for Lebanon. If you could just take your seats, beginning here. Sorry, sir. Thank you. Yeah, if you could continue that way. His Excellency, from the Pakistan Tourism Development Corporation is with us as well today. The State Secretary at the Ministry of Tourism of Croatia, the Secretary General of Tourism for Morocco, the Group Chief Executive of Qatar Airways as well. You've just been hearing from him. And also the director of the UNESCO office here in Doha, who has a very large portfolio, of course, covering GCC and Yemen. Excellent. Thank you very much. We'll begin. It's thought, isn't it, that tourism creates 1 in 10 jobs, a key driver of opportunity for women and young people as well. So the question we really want to ask is, to begin with, how can the sector make sure those benefits stay in the community? And I'm going to start with you, the story from Jamaica, because one of the great controversies in this area are these hotels, these all-inclusive hotels, and the concern that the benefits stay within those hotels and are then exported out of the country. And I know you've been doing a lot of work on that front because you've got a few in your country.
I think one of the critical concerns that we have is the business models that have been adopted to drive tourism, both in terms of the infrastructure as well as on the distribution side. And the criticism has been that these models have been more exclusive than inclusive. And it offers an opportunity for the investor to make the profits while the beneficiary countries are at risk. Well, we understand what tourism does. Tourism brings demand to a destination. And the capacity of that destination to respond to the demand is the function of its own capability to extract the wealth that the industry brings. So having seen that, we've developed what we call the network of experiences for which people travel. People travel to fulfill their passions. What are those passions? So our job is to develop products around those passion points. Now, the experience then is that of the people. It is the creative output that the tourist experiences. It's their food. So agriculture is critical. It's their creative products, their craft and their art and the cultural products. Those are also what the people produce. So you must enhance the capacity of people to produce at the community level so that the experience can be theirs. And that's what we've done in Jamaica. We've created a fund called the Tourism Enhancement Fund that provides income-generating opportunities for the small and medium enterprises. We've created a category called the Small and Medium Tourism Enterprises. So through that fund, we've provided loan facilities through the private sector, small business loan entities, as well as the public sector Exim Bank. And we allow for these small people to be able to provide the street foods, the art, the craft, the music, the entertainment, the nutraceuticals from our rich biodiversity in the rural communities. In this way, the richness, the wealth of tourism is able to spread to all, and there is inclusiveness in the growth. So it doesn't matter whether the business model then is all inclusive, or it's EP, or whatever other P you may wish to call it. If the inputs of tourism are provided by the people of the community, then the enrichment of the community will be realized.
You want to invest in this country, you have to buy local. You have to
buy local.
Okay.
Because we're providing the local input for you.
And in Morocco as well, you've had some success, haven't you, in getting people out of the hotels and getting in other parts of the country. Just talk us through that.
Yeah. Thank you. I would like just first of all to thank the government of Qatar for the invitation and the quality of the hospitality and organizing all this celebration. And thank you for your question. In Morocco, tourism is a very important sector, so it contributes to 7% to GDP. So for us, it's a very important sector, and we believe where we are developing tourism that we need to maintain this creation of jobs. But we have also this issue of making the wealth coming from tourism go to the local communities. So when we launch our strategy we are working on and under development right now, we had this issue of making tourism a lever for development, for creating this wealth in different destinations in Morocco and not letting it concentrated in only one or two destinations, which is still the case for the moment, with 60% of the touristic activity in Morocco is still concentrated in Marrakesh and Agadir. But what we wanted to do is, yes, we want to bring those big investors to develop big infrastructures, because we don't need only niche tourism, we need also what you call mass tourism, but not in the pejorative aspect, this tourism that brings figures. But the way the people are going to invest in big resorts, we try to encourage the investors to have this sustainable approach by lowering their impact on the natural resources, by not having this density of constructions, even on the seas or other, by respecting the locals, by employing locals. And when we encourage the investors, we give some incentives. There are a counterpart where these investors are invited to encourage local consumption, local employment, and also to invest in developing some local social equipments in the surroundings of the project where they are investing. And the other aspect, to answer your question, is about how we can also make those tourists not stay in the resort, but go also and visit around and meet the population. Is this what we have chosen, is also to have those big infrastructure, big kind of market for what we have in the mountains, in the rural areas, and to encourage also investments there.
So you're creating draws outside the hotels to attract them to leave, not necessarily saying you have to get out.
Yeah, and creating some circuits and some routes, and also what we do is trying to showcase for the professionals and the investors the benefit of such approach. And we are having our Sustainable Tourism Awards, and it's for us kind of opportunity to showcase the best cases, and to make them models for the others. And we always try to have in the winners big investors, big companies, but also those small ones which are trying to develop their activities in the rurals, in the mountain, in the desert. So this is our struggle.
Okay, and Akbar Al-Bakr, we were hearing earlier how you're trying to take people to destinations they wouldn't have gone before, or creating that connection. From your travels, which destinations do you think are getting it right and managing to involve those local communities effectively, rather than just inviting the big companies in?
Quite frankly speaking, with my experience, I have noticed that every country, especially the countries that are not connected by major carriers, the destinations that are off the big networks, the people embrace us, not only just a provider of bringing people, but also how to promote the airline in order to make the destination more attractive. If you notice that the competition in the region of Qatar Airways always are targeting where there are major flows of people, but they don't realize that the world is not only those major destinations, but world at large is a larger place than just those major destinations to which they concentrate. And in this we have been very careful, very lucky and fortunate of the way we design our network. We are going to cities like Skopje, just I mentioned, we are starting Sarajevo, we are starting Ljubljana, we are starting so many new destinations across Asia. Of course, I don't want to divulge those information because I'm sure that when I speak, a lot of ears are focused at what I'm saying. So we make sure that we always promote not only taking people, but also the local community. Tourism, like my dear friend Rifai mentioned, that is a major player in creating jobs, in making people understand each other, in bringing stability, and an airline plays a major part in it, and people, they don't realize. Now, for example, the 3 carriers in the United States that are challenging Qatar Airways and the Gulf carriers operating into them, that we are taking jobs. If they really go to WTO and see the statistics, including the travel trade in the United States, as a matter of fact, we are doing exactly the opposite. But it is because there are vested interests that do not want progress for the people, do not want people to see their country opened up, are very inside-looking people. And I see that tourism is a major economic driver in the world. It is not only trade. Tourism must receive a lot of attention from countries, especially countries that want to create jobs for their nationals, for the people, economic development, and more importantly, as my friend Rifai mentioned, understanding between people. Thank you.
When there's a smaller city that's desperate to have a Qatar flight coming to that city, how do they convince you that that's going to be worthwhile for you when at the beginning, for example, the planes won't be full? I mean, what sort of things are you considering in those situations?
Look, no, most of the major airlines will only go to a destination where they make money the first day they land. They don't realize that aviation is something that you are investing long-term. And this is exactly what Qatar Airways does. We don't look at gains the first day, because when you introduce flights, of course, it will not be full, especially with second and third tier destinations. But because you're operating, you're creating interest. For example, I'll give you Georgia. We only operated there 4 times a week. Now we are going double daily. Because once we operated, we created the destination. People always told me, why are you going to this country where nobody knows? We invest, and we have very good return on investment. We are there for long term. We are not there for short term. And this is what exactly Qatar Airways is known. And this is why you won't believe the amount of ministers, the amount of leaders of tourism, the amount of travel trade contact me on a weekly basis, begging us to operate to their destination. I wish I had so many airplanes.
Can I just ask about the situation in Liberia? Presumably there are cities there that you desperately like to have some Qatar flights coming into. But I know there's some concern in your country that perhaps local people don't gain enough from those investments and the money's taken out. But how do you convince communities that you are going to benefit them?
Thanks for the opportunity. The perception and the idea has to be that the local community themselves are the quintessence of tourism. Without the locals and their environment, their community, there will be no use for a tourist to go there. So yes, the idea has been to ensure that local communities not just benefit from the spoils of tourism, but are a critical part of our tourism strategy. We have had troubles in our country, the war, then very recently the Ebola crisis. So for us, it's an uphill task trying to rebuild the confidence that tourists had in Liberia. Our country has about 40% of the tropical rainforest biodiversity. So our greatest selling point is ecotourism. And for ecotourism to survive, the ecosystem must survive. And it means that the communities in the forest You have to preserve their lives, preserve their positive culture, allow them a livelihood, and then you can have tourism being sustainable and worthwhile. So the idea we have proposed now on our new strategy is to make the local communities a part of the tourism process. And then by so doing, you can attract tourists to come and see your uniqueness that you have to offer.
So when you go into these communities, what sort of things are they saying to you? What concerns have they got, and what do you say in response?
The main concern is that we need to strike a balance between their cultural identity, their cultural life, their cultural heritage, and tourism. Because if you have an influx of tourists desecrating cultural shrines, spoiling the culture of the village, and then you wouldn't have the village anymore. Then also we have to be aware that there are many endangered species in these areas that the eco-tourists want to go to. So we have to strike another balance between the preservation of these species that are already endangered to the tourists that come in. So it's a little bit of striking a key balance between cultural preservation, preservation of biodiversity, and allowing the tourists to enjoy the beauty of nature.
Tunisia is a country where I think 13% of employment, doesn't it, depend on tourism in some form, and that number's going up all the time. So it's a big impact it's having on the country right now. But of course, it's a country that depends heavily on tourism. So how do you encourage communities to stay part of that?
Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to say that I'm very happy to be in Qatar today, but I will switch in French. I will speak in French, no problem. Okay. La Tunisie a commencé à investir dans le tourisme depuis les années 70. Et le tourisme est un secteur économique stratégique dans notre pays. C'est un des piliers de l'économie. L'investissement est pratiquement à 100% privé dans le tourisme en Tunisie. La Tunisie est connue essentiellement pour le tourisme balnéaire, mais ces dernières années, on fait un effort particulier pour investir dans le tourisme, diversifier notre produit touristique, le tourisme culturel. Nous sommes pratiquement un pays, un musée à ciel ouvert. Il y a plus de 40 000 sites historiques en Tunisie. Nous avons plusieurs civilisations qui sont passées par la Tunisie, la civilisation, les Phéniciens, les Byzantins, les Romains, les Arabes. Il y a toutes les religions qui sont passées par la Tunisie. Donc, nous travaillons beaucoup sur ce produit-là. Nous encourageons aussi le tourisme saharien, le tourisme médical, qui est très important dans notre pays, qui commence à se développer. Nous sommes passés par une crise, comme vous le savez, l'année 2015, 2016, il y a une reprise, et 2017, réellement, nous reprenons sur le marché, sur nos marchés traditionnels européens, mais nous développons de nouveaux marchés, les pays du Golfe, la Chine, la Russie et d'autres pays. C'est un secteur qui emploie beaucoup les jeunes et les femmes, et c'est très important dans notre pays. Nous sommes dans une phase de transition démocratique, économique importante. Donc, il y a des encouragements. Nous avons fait les dernières années un plan de restructuration, que ce soit au niveau institutionnel, au niveau du département du tourisme, qu'au niveau des choix stratégiques. Une montée en gamme du produit tunisien, du produit touristique. Le produit de masse reste toujours un produit d'appel, mais c'est important de travailler sur le produit moyen, moyen plus et le haut de gamme. Nous avons plusieurs chaînes internationales qui sont en train de s'installer en Tunisie, de haut niveau, donc des investissements importants qui sont en train de se faire, pas uniquement dans les zones balnéaires, mais surtout dans les zones où il y a un autre intérêt. D'autres décisions ont été prises aussi pour encourager le tourisme, comme la mise en place du e-visa, le visa électronique, comme l'Open Sky, qui est en phase terminale. Enfin, on est en train de finaliser les derniers accords. Aussi des avantages qui sont donnés dans certains endroits pour l'investissement. Et nous sommes signataires aussi de la charte du tourisme durable. Nous l'avons fait à Marrakech en 2016, la charte africaine du tourisme durable. Et d'ailleurs, toutes les orientations dans l'investissement vont vers tout ce qui est énergie renouvelable, économie de l'eau, économie verte. Et donc, il y a très souvent des colloques, des forums pour encourager l'investissement en Tunisie.
When it comes to attracting, you obviously would love to attract more and more tourists, with such an important part of your economy, but when it comes to protecting these sites, as the big numbers come in, UNESCO, I mean, you're operating in this region, aren't you, where you've got these very valuable sites, and you are getting lots and lots of tourists coming in at them now. How are you managing to protect them while satisfying what the tourists came to the region for?
I've seen this summer, for example, headline news, overcrowding make headline news, and this has created a lot of concerns to us. But we have also seen that some community actually took the lead to approach the government or the managers of the site and to engage in a positive dialogue with them. We have heard that respect is one of the slogans of the campaign for this year, and this is fundamental. In the visiting of the site, respect the local community, respect the citizens and the residents of the places. I would say that integrated management and proper management of site, that's the key to avoid overcrowding, and at the same time have a proper education and awareness raising, in the sense that travel starts before starting actually taking a mean of transportation and reaching the site. So through the media and social media, people now have access to information, and we should really try to inform them about the different possibilities and the different options that they have and what they have to visit different cultural opportunities in different countries and different sites. At the same time, when it comes to management, I think in terms of overcrowding, one important thing is to look at carrying capacity, for example, of the sites. Of course, it's much more difficult in urban centers that are open to tourists to come than maybe in close archaeological sites or museums, but still cities are made by different cultural goods. You have museums, you have palaces, you have religious buildings, and so on. And so they have also to be managed in a way so that the tourists, for example, do not experience have a negative experience in queuing, for example, for long hours, and it can be easily managed in advanced booking and so on. And this can be, the tourists can be informed of all these different opportunities through the social media and awareness campaign that in your countries you are doing. Of course, there is always a very thin balance between tourism and protection of cultural heritage. And integrated management, looking at all the options, it's the way to go about.
And in Croatia, you've almost become a victim of your own success, because you've now got so many people coming during the summer, and it's feeling very overcrowded, isn't it? And what's your solution to that? Is the solution to spreading people across the year, or to actually put them off coming now during the summer?
Thank you very much for this question. First of all, allow me to thank our host for excellent hospitality here in Qatar. Yeah, the number could be a problem, if not properly managed, as it's said already. So I think also that site management is extraordinarily important. We are trying now to spread the season through over the year, because, of course, seasonality is always a problem, especially with the sea and sand destinations, which is Croatia, in fact, because almost 96% of the touristic traffic is on the coast. So only 4% is on the continental part of Croatia, and what we're now trying is to establish new products, especially in health tourism, cycling tourism, different types of tourism which can attract people all over the year. And what are we doing in parts where we have a lot of tourists? For example, Dubrovnik, which is my hometown, which is on the southeast part of Croatia, that's also a cultural heritage site protected by UNESCO. And of course,
Mayor of Dubrovnik already started negotiations with the cruise ships owners, with cruise ships companies, and he tried to have agreement with them, to have partner among them, to spread the season all over the year. Now we have season in Dubrovnik from March until the end of November, but we are expecting really to spread also during this winter time, and I hope that we will succeed in this. And of course, we want to have new products in destination. That's also very important, not to have overcrowdedness. And if you have new products, if you have good enogastronomy like we had in Croatia, then it's an opportunity for your visitors to have also possibility to see the other parts of that destination and not only to focus on this very spot, which is, for example, cultural heritage city of Dubrovnik. And I will say only a few numbers. For example, Croatia has 4.2 million inhabitants. Last year, we had more than 14.5 million international visitors. We already reached that number in September this year. So this year we will have more than 16 million international visitors, plus 2 million domestic visitors. That means it's really overcrowdedness on first sight. But I think that we are managing quite good. We have Ministry of Tourism. We are giving grants to the entrepreneurs, private and public entrepreneurs. And really, I think that we are doing a good job. And Croatia today is hit destinations.
What about the local residents who feel that their culture is being submerged by a load of Brits coming down and lying on the beach and even buying property there?
Well, first of all, that's opportunity for them for jobs, and most of the people are involved in tourism. From tourism sector is coming almost 20% of GDP of Croatia. So you can imagine that's the biggest sector in Croatia and the most important sector. And of course, that's the opportunity for all the people. What we have in Croatia, especially on the coast, we have problem that we don't have enough accommodation in the hotels. Yes, in some parts, like Dubrovnik we have 5-star hotels, 4 stars, and many hotels. But on the other sites in Croatia and other destinations, we have mostly private accommodation. We have private villas, private apartments. So there's also opportunity, there's quite good income for all the people who are living there. And of course, tourism is really chance, as Mr. Taleb said. It's chance for the economy and for the growth, of course.
It's also a chance, isn't it? I want to talk about Lebanon a bit here, because there's an opportunity to revitalize traditions quite often as well. If you manage it properly, you can say to the community, this is your big selling point, and that brings back an element of pride and traditions that perhaps they weren't, they couldn't remember themselves.
Okay, I will try to express myself in English, in Arabic, and bit of Armenian. It's good?
Go for
it.
Okay.
So let me begin by saying, for me, the definition of tourism for the incoming country is the art of how we treat the guest. And the humanitarian aspect of tourism is the most important, as I know. We in Lebanon, we are known as the most hospitable people in the area of Middle East, and we know how we treat our guests. So we are suffering about the perception concerning Lebanon and the prejudice, because yesterday I was in Paris and I have a speech that I'm saying when I was telling my friends that I'm going to Paris. They told me, what are you going to do in this country? There is a bad weather, terrorist attacks, and some non-secure regions. And they asked me to stay in Lebanon, in secure Beirut, and the best shining country. Why I told them this? Because I think this perception is killing tourism in the most popular countries, if I'm talking about the Middle East and I'm talking about Lebanon. The most important thing that we have to do, and we are doing it in Lebanon, that we are diversifying our touristic aspect. Now, Beirut is known as tourism for leisure. We are trying and we succeeding in the religious tourism, in the cultural tourism, in the educational tourism, medical tourism, and now we are trying to work on the MICE, on the tourism of conferences, seminars. That's why we are trying to play it in reverse. Mainly, we are trying to come back peoples, the main players of tourism, to Lebanon, to let them experience our high-quality services, to let them experience that we have really security and political stability, to let them experience our nightlife, and to let them go and be our ambassadors in their country. That's why, and this is the main important issue, that we have to treat tourism as an humanitarian aspect, because it is very important that you know how to get your ideas to the markets that you have interested to bring people from there, and then once they are in your country, to treat them as they are the citizens of this country. Maybe I am answering not that for your question, but I'm trying to, yes, I'm trying to clarify something. I'm trying to say that, as Mr. Taleb Rifai said, when you travel and when you are a tourist, you have something else. Your maybe personality is more developed, and to develop the personality, to develop the humanitarian aspect of each one of us, we have to treat, and we have to know how to treat. Tourism has a direct influence in economy. Tourism has a direct influence in the development of a country. So maybe in our countries, in the Middle East, tourism is not an important aspect. When you get nominated a minister for tourism, this is something for fun. You have to organize the Miss Lebanon or Miss pageants, and you have to get happy and funny. But I think the main ministry of any country is the tourism, along with the culture. Those two things, those two issues are giving the main image of any country. So I am now trying to work in the tourism because I didn't know the tourism. I was in another kind of work. So as I learned for those 10 months as a Minister of Tourism, that I have to work on the, I'm saying this for many times, on the humanitarian aspect, and I know I had some success, and I'm advising all of us to work on this, to work on the tourism as something very spiritual.
How do you then convince a European tourist to come to Lebanon, almost convincing them they have a duty to do that, to help communities that really need tourism rather than going to a European country or America, for example?
You know, this year we had a very big growth in the number of incoming people to Lebanon, around 14%. And I assume 2017 will be the second best year as number of incoming tourists to Lebanon since 1951. Why I'm saying this? I'm saying this because Lebanon is known as a very touristic country. The political and security issues are ruining our image. Now that we have some stability and some security, I didn't have to do much effort to let Europeans and Gulf people and Arab people to return to Lebanon. They, by themselves, came to Lebanon. No, I'm not working through televisions and through publicities, through advertisement, because I need to put the product in the market and then do advertisement of the market. We was for some times absent from the market of tourism. Now we are trying to recome, and fortunately for us, the number of European tourists increase around 18%, and mainly from France, from Germany, from Britain. The number of tourists from Gulf areas increased 100%, and we are trying to do much effort, as I said, in MICE issue and in diversification to achieve this goal.
What's the story in Pakistan? Because obviously there's security concerns there as well, isn't it? From outside Pakistan, people worried about going there and overcrowding as well. How have you managed to manage that?
Thank you very much, Excellency, and thanks to the Qatar government, and particularly the thanks to the UNWTO arranged this beautiful meeting. But I want to introduce to my country. Pakistan is a most beautiful country. It's a truly paradise. I'm telling you, it's a small, but we have different type of weathers. We have sea, we have deserts, we have plain lands, we have mountains, and we have different tops. So just Switzerland have just one top, and we have the difference of tops in Pakistan. But sometime you're talking about the terrorism. Right now, it's a peace in Pakistan. And before it was the neglected sector, I'm talking about the tourism, but right now we are working on it. I want to promote the religious tourism, health tourism, agri-tourism, cultural tourism, sports tourism, aviation tourism also. But I want to say one thing which is most important, because world is here. A relationship is a book and mistake is a page. Don't destroy the book just for a page. And sometimes people watch on the TV is that Pakistani nation, sometime as a Muslim, is a terrorist. It's not. It's totally wrong.
But how do you convince the world of that in terms of tourism when those things are happening quite often?
But Excellency, I'm telling you, perception is stronger more than the reality. And right now I'm working on it. Before I introduced the different type of ministries, I was Minister for Prison, Industries, Planning and Development. And right now Prime Minister of Pakistan have lot of interest in the tourism sector. So this is my second meeting, first meeting with the Excellency Secretary General of UNWTO in the matter. And this is my second meeting. So inshallah, you will see, time is coming soon, the world will come and the world will be appreciate that Pakistani nation is a loving nation. It's a loving nation. They are not the terrorists. We are facing some unknown problems in Pakistan. But right now is a peaceful country. Our economic corridor is the complete, and the world will come, and I will invite to the world, come to the Pakistan and see what a beautiful country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I mean, one of the big questions, isn't it, is how you can promote intercultural dialogue and getting communities to speak to each other. So someone coming into Liberia, for example, and finding out about Liberia, but also, the other way around, those countries talking to Liberians. And is that a conversation you're having with locals even before they're getting the tourists in?
We have to see that from two prisms. Some of our neighbors in a particular region, it's much easier for intercultural exchanges and for understanding of another country's culture. But as you go further afield, there will be required, two things could be catalyst to helping with those. One is travel itself has allowed people to understand other cultures better. Then in addition to that, with the advancement of social media, it has made comprehension and understanding of cultural diversities across various continents much easier. So we have to use all of the tools available to us, because what you don't want in tourism, particularly in ecotourism, is for the tourist to be seen by the local community as interlopers and not as guests. And for that to happen, there has to be at least a rudimentary understanding of the cultures of the rest of the world. So in a remote village in the forest where you have a lot of species, what could you do for that village? You have them have electricity, access to the internet, even at the rudimentary level, and that allows them to have a better understanding of the world around them, and that it is what they have is something that everybody should see. But like I said earlier, we have to ensure that our identity, cultural identity, is preserved. Positive cultural identities, because there are harmful cultural traditional practices. Like in my country, we are fighting to deal with FGM, female genital mutilation. We cannot describe that as a good cultural practice. It exists, we have to fight it using tourism. So I was very happy when I saw the Tourism Code of Ethics that point out that some of these practices cannot be allowed to be part of our tourism world. So yes, culture is good. Preservation of culture is good to promote tourism, but we have to be careful which aspect of negative cultural practices like FGM that should be eliminated. So I cannot bring a tourist to our village to come and see the practice of FGM. That wouldn't be positive tourism.
What is the answer to that? Do you
deny
it or talk about it?
It has to be deliberate efforts. One, legislation. There is a law in most countries now that put out these harmful practices. So it's illegal first, and then you have to engage the communities to allow them options. Some of these practices are carried out because they see those as source of money. Selling a young 13-year-old girl at a big ceremony in the village because the father wants to earn money, but he has an option to earn money through tourism as a tourist guide, as a forest ranger. He might not want to sell his daughter into slavery. So it's a complicated thing, but with deliberate actions by government, by local authorities, we have seen great progress in the elimination of FGM, child marriage, and all of these things that in the past were seen as cultural activities, but truly are just harmful practices.
UNESCO often deals with issues similar to this, not quite as extreme as that, but people just wanting to come in and see sites and go, wow, but you've always tried to create conversations around them, haven't you? So people learn something from them and you explain why they're there. What can you say to countries where they want to create conversations about sites and they want people to understand the cultures, but they don't want their cultures to change as a result?
Well, there is no option than interaction with the local communities. I mean, this is fundamental. Listen to them, and as the minister mentioned, make them part of the overall discourse. Sometime, I had an experience in one site, it's a World Heritage sites, where we did an analysis and the perception of the tourist before entering the sites, by what he was attracted. And cultural communities were not even mentioned, although in that particular site is not only a World Heritage site, but also the local community living in and around the sites is recognized by UNESCO as an intangible, their cultural practices are recognized as intangible heritage element. And the tourist seems neither not knowing about that or not being interested before entering the sites. But also, coming out of the sites, we had almost the same experience. Actually, the interface with the local communities was also mainly bothering them. And there was this missed opportunities of actually interact and exchange point of view, idea, and learning about the community. So I think that policies has to be put in place so that the community can be heard, and that there is this osmosis, that it doesn't come naturally, of course, because a lot of tourists are definitely not interested or maybe attracted just by monuments, monumental heritage, and not to the people living around. I think a little bit more effort should be invested in communities around their cultural practices, cultural industry, for example, that can be put forward to the visitors to experience. So to start this osmosis and to have, again, as I said before, this mutual respect from the tourist part, but also for the recipient part, which is very important.
Yeah, it's somewhere like Morocco, where people are fascinated by the Berber lifestyle, for example. How do you get the lifestyle of people living outside in the country? How do you get tourists having a conversation with the people instead of just going to their areas and looking at the sites? How do you actually get them talking to each other?
Yeah. Thank you for your question. I guess this was also related to the first one. I think it's very important that we make people aware that tourism is about traveling, but not only going and, just visit some places. We are also visiting some people. We are coming to share their experience. We are coming for... The things are evolving, that tourists are also willing to become like citizens, to act like citizens, so to be part of this life of the citizens. So maybe these are the messages we are trying to communicate to the tourists, is come and respect the population you are visiting and share with them your experience, their experience of life, the way they live, their culture, their arts, their handicrafts, their architecture, all those aspects we try to share them with tourists. And I wanted to say that in our approach, all what we are discussing is about sustainable tourism, is creating economic activity, but having impact on the locals, and also protecting our patrimony, natural assets and cultural assets. So in Morocco, we have chosen this approach. Sustainable tourism for us is not a niche. For us, it's a global approach. We did it when we planned our strategy. We had in mind this issue of density, of crowd you are talking about. So we calculated the borders that we don't want to cross. We don't want to have this kind of density. We thought about it when we were thinking about the investment, the kind of investors we want and where we want them to go, so that we have this respect. We also are aware, if we want to have sustainability, we have the professionals, the operators that operate in tourism are also aware about sustainability. Yeah. They employ locals. They also contribute to this aspect you are talking about sensitive in the tourists and the visitors, about the way they act, the way they consume tourism. And also, when we are promoting our destination, we are also having in mind those assets and sustainability as a pillar of our strategy. And the last point also, and I was talking about kind of life cycle approach, this is what we choose in Morocco in terms of sustainability, is also monitoring. And it's also important when you talk about some density you don't want to cross, to go above, you need to have tools to measure the impact, the positive impact, the environmental impact, the cultural impact. So we're trying to work on that also, to have kind of observatories in the regions for sustainability. But this is not enough. When we made an assessment 2 years ago to see where we are from this strategy and from spreading the word about sustainability and this integrated approach, and we saw that it's still concentrated on a small, group of actors and engaged people at the public level or also at the private sector level. So we were aware that we need to spread the word and to make people aware about what is sustainability, what is this approach in Morocco, and this is how the idea of having a charter where we define the tourism for us in Morocco, a sustainable charter for tourism charter in Morocco, that we branded in a way where we have those 4 pillars for sustainability clear for everybody. And also the innovation in this charter was that we were talking to everybody and putting message for each actor, the professionals, the investors, the institutionals, the private sector, and the tourists and the citizens.
Akbal Bakar, you go to these destinations. We hear a lot about these new business models, the shared economy they call it, don't they? Do you think there is a genuine change in how the industry is operating and governments are helping with that? Or do you think there's a lot of lip service that's paid to sustainability and you're not actually seeing real change in those countries?
You know, quite frankly, to be speaking very directly, you know, before we open a destination, we get a lot of, you know, approaches and a lot of studies and a lot of, you know, lobbying goes on, including with my government, you know, for Qatar Airways. But I noticed that once we start operating, everybody forgets about us. And then we are alone to promote our services and what we provide and what kind of people we'll bring. And the only way we then do it is going directly to the travel agents and convincing them that this is the product we have and this is what there is to offer in so-and-so destinations. All the tourism authorities, all the ministries, everybody, they really disappear.
So you end up promoting...
And they leave us like, you know, they take us straight to the well, and they say, now you have to put the bucket.
So you're doing your job for them. You're saying to the agents, this is why you should come to this country. So you're doing the job that the ministry should be doing.
Exactly, we do the job, you know, for the tourism authorities.
So
and
how
we do it. Look, I don't want to complain because we do the job very well. And we start bringing people out, for example, in Eastern Europe, to Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary, all these places. I mean, nobody was going from here. When we started, there was also no direct services to them. Of course, our competition only then jumped on the bandwagon. We promoted them, and now you see Qatar is going all over the place. And we are bringing people from India, from China, from Japan, from the Far East, and vice versa. We take the people to the destinations that we operate into. But honestly, all the tourism authorities people and the ministry's people, they just disappear.
What's your message to them then, to continue?
My message to them is that they should keep engaged. They should keep engaged with the airlines that are really feeding into their country, bringing tourism, bringing revenues, creating jobs, introducing people to their country. So they should not just sit on the back seat after you know, they have convinced us to come. And our job, we will do, and we will do it well. But at the end of the day, they should also play their part. They should not leave us alone. I'm sorry, too direct.
That's very good. Do you think there's a risk that ministries
I know
do rest
that
on...
all the people sitting here will hate me now.
No, it's a general criticism. Do you think there is a risk that countries rest on their laurels once they've got the numbers that they need? They're just aiming at numbers of tourists.
Well, I think that there is the temptation that you could be measuring only by arrivals. But I think there's a deep...
That does happen, doesn't it, realistically?
It does, you know, but the truth is that the impact of tourism is not measured solely by arrivals. That's only half of the equation. The other one, of course, is to what extent has tourism been able to create jobs, to improve well-being, social well-being, economic well-being? How has it been able to alleviate poverty and to transform communities? One of the great things about tourism is this transformative capacity. It takes sleepy little towns that were lost in the culture of silence and create bustling economic centers out of it. And it transforms the way people think, the way people relate, the way people act. And so how do you do that? You do that by creating and causing a flow-through effect in the economy. So the tourism dollar must penetrate the economy. It must reach the little man. And I insist on that, and Taleb knows my position on the small and medium tourism entities, because 80% of global tourism is driven by small and medium enterprises. 80%. Yet, 20% of the value of tourism reaches them. Something is wrong with that. And we have to do some correction here. And I believe it is time for us to think of the key factor in the whole sustainability discussions of how do we change the consumption and production patterns within tourism.
Well, I just want to end on the fact that it is International Year of Sustainable Tourism. It's also World Tourism Day. If I could just get 30 seconds from each of you about what your message is about this idea that tourism can change the world. So if I could just come along, panels, your message on World Tourism Day, a brief one from UNESCO to begin with. Brief.
Well,
a thought.
I think it's respect and protect heritage, because this will be not only for future generation, but for all the travel. It's open to all the world, has to benefit all the world, and also heritage without tourism is not really at the service of anybody. So the two goes hand in hand. So please, in your you as decision makers in your own countries, make sure that culture is also at the core of your tourism visions and your tourism strategies and policies, because this is a non-renewable resource. One is gone forever. So if also culture is gone, also cultural tourism is gone, so preserve it.
Pass the microphone on and we'll get the your message today on World Tourism Day.
An airline is the biggest facilitator of arrivals into a country. And as my dear friend Rifai mentioned, that over 55% of the tourists, they fly on aeroplanes. So I would suggest and request that people who are here from tourism authorities and tourism ministries, they should always keep engaged with an airline that provides them the arrivals that they want, to make sure that their issues are resolved, that they listen to them, the problems that the passenger faces is addressed properly, and most importantly is to make sure that the entry and exit point, which is the first and last impression of a country, that they make sure that the authorities at the airports respect and welcome the tourists when they arrive. Also, to continue making investments in improving the so to say facilities that is provided to tourists. Keep in mind that the first impression is always the last impression. And once people move away from you, they will never come back.
Thank you very much.
I would like to say what I always say: sustainable tourism is not a niche, it's a real approach. And it's not a choice. We have to be sustainable because we do tourism, like it was said, on some assets, and if we don't preserve that and evaluate, then they will disappear. It's the matter of all kind of actors. We are all actors, so we need to act as institutions, public sector, private sector, investors, tourists, and local communities. And if we want to do it, we need also to communicate to people the advantage, because sustainable tourism is also benefiting to all of us. As investors, it's also a kind of positioning, it's a reduction of costs, but also marketing. For the tourists, if you buy local, if you eat local foods, it's better for your health, it's better taste, so you enjoy the experience. So this is the way we have to promote sustainable tourism, as no choice, but it's also benefiting for all of us.
Thank you.
And education, because the little the future generation, it's important.
Thank you.
Very briefly, tourism is bringing people together. Tourism is bringing peace and bringing money. So travel, enjoy, respect. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Excellent. Good length as well.
Thanks. My message is also my predictions. You will see. Time is coming soon. World will be based just on 3 things: entertainment, tourism, and the sports. Inshallah. So joint hand, and we need tourism, not terrorism, in the world.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you. I will say maybe one sentence. I want to, for all of us, to think tourism for the welfare of the humanity. And I want to launch from here an idea. I need the national media, international media, and social media to be supportive to the tourism, because sometimes when we are putting a news or a breaking news or for any country and for any accident, and we are not sure about all the details, we are ruining the image of countries and we are killing the tourism. So help us.
Moi, je voudrais dire que le tourisme, ce n'est pas uniquement une activité économique, mais je prends l'exemple de notre pays. Nous ne pouvons pas vivre fermés. Nos frontières ne peuvent pas être fermées. Nous sommes au centre de la mer Méditerranée, à quelques heures des principales capitales européennes. Nous sommes entre le Maghreb et le Moyen-Orient. Notre pays vit du tourisme. Et pas uniquement, bien sûr, il vit de l'industrie et d'autres activités, mais le tourisme permet de construire une image, permet d'avoir une certaine ouverture d'esprit au peuple qui vit dans notre pays, dans toutes les régions, les échanges avec des personnes qui viennent d'autres pays. Il est très important de garder cette ouverture d'esprit et ça permet un développement pour tous les pays du monde.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the opportunity. Tourism relies on people, their livelihoods, their lives, their environment. So therefore, for us to have sustainable tourism, we have to pay attention to people and their lives. Thank you.
I just want to think of sustainability in 3 key areas. One, the environment. And I think I'd like just to bring to you the fact that we in the Caribbean island states, we're particularly vulnerable to seismic as well as climatic incidents. And we had one in the last week that has ravaged our areas and created great destruction and pain. So sustainability means environmental management and care. Secondly, sustainability means economic growth and development for people. Jobs, good jobs that can sustain their well-being. And thirdly, it means human capital development. Build human capital, make our people creative, innovative, and we will have complete sustainable development and harmony across the world. That's my word for the day.
Thank you to the whole panel. It's been a fascinating discussion. And we've got some really great ideas that we can all think about there, and keep speaking to the airlines. Don't stop speaking to the airlines once you've got them in. That's one of the messages we had today. So thank you all very much indeed. Fascinating discussion. Thank you. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you. That was really interesting.
Ladies and gentlemen, our morning session has now come to an end. We will have a short coffee break and we will resume in 25 minutes. Thank you.